Get your stinking rat out. It's late night large.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome again to a Lockdown Large Extra Time edition. You know the rules by now. We'll have a 20-minute time limit to talk about a subject of our choice. But before we go into that, I thought I'd mention a couple of interesting things that I came across this particular week, Mike. Oh, by the way, Aaron, Mike, if you haven't watched before, that's who we are. Mike, I don't know if you saw this the other week on Match of the Day, but I found this really interesting. I guess I'm the kind of person who gets really fascinated by these really weird little patterns that happen once in a when the stars are aligned. But they were showing the race for the Golden Glove, which is effectively the most clean sheets in any season. So they were showing the top of the ranking at that particular time. I think it was about a week and a bit ago, and it only had room for the top three, and they were very similar, like 15, 14, 14, I think. And I looked at them and I was like, oh my God, and I couldn't believe it. Like, has this ever happened before, right? The top three goalkeepers in the Golden Glove standings all had the same initials, the exact same initials. Like, I don't know how unlikely that is, but so basically, number 3 was Edouard Mendy of Chelsea. Number 2, Emiliano Martinez, I think from Villa. And number 1 was Edison, who is Edison Moraes. So all of them had the exact same initials. I was like, get Stato on the case, because I'd love to know if that's ever happened before, to have the exact same initials for the top 3.
Simple things, eh?
See, I thought you'd dismiss it like that.
Yep.
The other thing, Mike, that I thought I'd mention this week, which I found amusing, was hopefully we've all seen by now one of those moments of joy that crops up now and again. The reason we watch football, we don't watch football for a Sam Allardyce battle at set pieces and whatever. Well, we watch. All right, yeah, okay, whatever floats someone's boat, yeah, but there's a few things that make watching football worthwhile when they happen. So the referee falling over or getting hit by the ball, an absolutely crunching tackle, particularly on an opposition player who you can't stand, and number 3 is a goal that just defies belief. That's one that the kids are going to be making idiots of themselves trying to recreate. And obviously in the North London derby, we saw just gold from Eric Lamela, with just out of the blue, out of his back pocket, a nutmeg Rabona against Arsenal. I mean, best time to do it, obviously, against your rivals. Worst time to do it, there's no fans. But the thing is, Mike, that's great on its own, and I was going to wax lyrical about that, but I don't know if you had the chance to do this, but if anyone did and watched the footage on Sky, you watch it on Match of the Day, it's good. It's like the commentator reflects what we're seeing. It's like, oh my God, look at that kind of thing. And, reflecting back exactly what you hope that the fans would be getting from it. But I had the misfortune of hearing the Sky Sports commentary, and it made it sound like it was like a confusing, scruffy goalmouth scramble. Martin Tyler took 2 or 3 replays to realise exactly what happened. And Alan Smith, of course, is incredibly dull at the best of times and added nothing in terms of emotion. Now, remember, Martin Tyler is not someone who is not capable of emotion. He used to go ridiculously wild about. I used to think he used to go well over the top for like Liverpool goals, particularly, but he would always explode when he saw like a pile driver into the net or whatever. And the fact that he just saw this goal that we might not see repeated for 2-3 decades, if we ever see it, and it went in and he was like, "Oh, it's gone in," and then he was just kind of scrambling around, like you could almost hear him like putting his face up to the screen, like trying to watch it carefully to see what had happened. I'm like, mate, a fan could have described that better. And by the time all the replays are over, I don't think he mentioned the embarrassing thing is I don't think Martin Tyler even understood what a Rabona was, which is pretty bad for a major league commentator. But there was no emotion. There was no like whipping up what had just happened, despite the fact, the Tottenham players were like putting their hands on their head and going, "What have you just done?" And Martin Tyler managed to completely ruin any kind of emotional drama in it. And it just made me think, Mike, because I've seen the last 2 or 3 years, particularly the matches which I've happened to catch on Sky. I don't know what you think, but Martin Tyler seems to be well past his best. Is it time to put him out to pasture? Is what I'm saying.
And there comes a time where enough's enough. Do you know what I mean? Where you gotta say, do you know what? Maybe I am just a confused old man and I need to step aside. Maybe. I don't know. That's not me saying that that's necessarily what I think. I'm just suggesting it as something that could possibly or hopefully go through his head at some point. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, as cruel as you sounded there, I'm afraid we are on the same page. And by the way, if you just think this is me and Mike ripping on an older guy, read the comments under the YouTube video and the Twitter video. People are not very forgiving. They're saying pretty much the same thing, that Tyler lost it a while ago. I mean, I remember, I don't know if it was this season or last season, I was watching a Liverpool match, I think, or the highlights of the Liverpool match that had been on Sky. And Roberto Firmino scored a goal, pretty decent goal. And don't get me wrong, love emotion. But Martin Tyler screamed that it was a Bobby Dazzler. And I was like, hang on a minute, that's the kind of thing you expect from a Liverpool fan to be screaming, like a fanboy or a fangirl. It's like, you're a professional commentator. His name is Roberto Firmino. And you're like calling him by his nickname. Oh, it's just really cringy. You know, like the dad at the disco kind of thing, trying to be down with the kids. Oh, anyway, I just thought I'd get that off my chest. So Sky, look at some of the comments under your videos. I love Martin Tyler. I'm sure everyone does. He's part of most of our like formative years. Sky Sports wouldn't be the brand it is without him, but you do have to come to a stage where you're just like, I'm not the man I used to be. I'm wealthy. I'm very popular. I can still enjoy football, but I'm just not capable of commentating on these big games anymore. Anyway, aside from all that, Mike, this...
Do you feel better now? Do you feel better now? Firstly?
I think so, yeah. The tightness in my chest was just lifted on my chest, yeah.
Good.
So what we're actually talking about this week, Mike, on Extra Time will be the new Wunderkind, Erling Braut Haaland. Now, I obviously we've been aware of him for a couple of years at least. I think the reason that it spurred me to talk about him this week is he obviously scored a couple of goals in the last Champions League game, which took him up to 20, which means that he has broken 2 records because he is both the youngest and the fastest player to ever achieve 20 goals in the Champions League. So bear in mind that's taken him 14 Champions League games to reach that, and he's 20 years old.
Not bad, is it?
No. So,
Not bad.
on that note, let's start the clock. So 20 minutes, and yeah, here we go. So we're going to talk about...
You haven't started that yet?
No, because I was doing the preamble. But anyway, so...
Okay, now your preamble goes on a bit, doesn't it? Right, go on.
The point in preambles, or preamble ramble, whatever. So, Erling Braut Haaland, is he the next, or can he get to the levels of someone like Ronaldo or Messi? There's a lot of people floating it. What do you think, first of all, Mike? Can he get to those levels from where he is?
I think that if you can't really say no. Could he? Yeah. Does he seem to have the natural, maybe not on the same level that we've seen just yet, but the natural ability to to have massive impact on games that, say, Messi has. Yes. He's been doing it for nearly 3 years now. I mean, didn't he start scoring in the Champions League when he was like 17 or something? This is a joke.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So, yes, he obviously has an extreme amount of natural ability. Does he have Ronaldo's work ethic, mind frame, kind of winning mentality? I guess we'll see that over a sustained period of time as he goes through spells in his career. There'll be ups, downs, etc. So that is, maybe we'll see that in time to come. But I don't see any reason why he couldn't have as bigger impact as either of those two. Certainly, if you're talking about, statistics and like the numbers that he'll put up, goals. So, you mentioned there 20 Champions League goals in 14 games. That's a joke. I think Ronaldo, what was it, 40?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
40. Do you know what I mean?
The next,
it's crazy. Lewandowski was the previous holder, if I'm right. And that the quickest to 20, and that was 30-something games.
No. Lewandowski's definitely got a record, but no, the closest in terms of games is actually Harry Kane.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Harry Kane took 24 Champions League games to reach 20.
No, that's not bad.
No,
I mean, that's what I mean. You look at that as a statistic, and you think, fucking hell, that'll take some beating. And then this kid comes along and goes, "Fucking hold my beer." 14 games later,
it's absolutely nuts. Now, you're right though, because it's crazy, because it's almost like people have gone so nuts with the Messi and Ronaldo thing. And by the way, Cristiano Ronaldo, he's just beaten Pele's record for all-time goals in official games. Pele's record. And he's on course to become the all-time top international goal scorer of all time. So,
all time. Excellent. That's impressive.
Yeah, all right, Mike. But Ronaldo is still reaching unparalleled heights. And in terms of individual moments of ability, Messi is still delighting all of us. But like you say, neither of them were close to the record for quickest to 20 Champions League goals. Harry Kane, who isn't in the shake-up for the best player in the world at the moment, was the last holder. And now suddenly Haaland's burst onto the scene.
I think it's important that we don't make too much of one record.
What's going out there?
No, but what I mean is, it's certainly an impressive one to get, and you've got to look at that and think, well, you combine that with actually watching him play, seeing the things he does, and so you talk about. So one thing you talk about is statistics, right? Yeah. So you talk about he's fastest player to get 20 Champions League goals, 14 games. Yeah, that's a joke. I don't think anyone could say it's a fluke or anything like that. Or has he had fortunate opponents? And there'll be people, no doubt, that will try and nitpick it and go, "Oh yeah," but regardless of what anyone says, that is very, very impressive. And we were talking about Champions League goals, so even if it's not the pinnacle that he's got teams that he's got those goals against, they are still Champions League goals. Do you know what I mean? So, he's not registering league goals against Crawley Town or whatever. We're talking about
elite level,
elite level goals. So that's one thing you look at, but I suppose really you can't just say, no matter what record he gets next, and he will get one. I'm sure he'll break a few more records before long. But no matter what record he gets, what kind of numbers he puts up, necessarily. And yes, you'd say that's what people are judged on. And of course it is. But, if you want to talk about, do you think someone can get there? You have to look at them. You have to try and understand them and their mentality that we mentioned before, that elite mentality that Ronaldo has, for example. But also, the kid's a bit of a joker as well. I don't know if you've seen some of the interviews and things that he's done. I like him. I do. I like him. But you actually watch him as a player and you think, what attributes does he have? And actually, it says he's 20 now, but for the last nearly few years, really, he's looked like the complete striker, if you like.
It's interesting you say that, Mike, because that's what I was going to talk about next. Was
yeah.
When we watch him play, like what would we characterize about his the way he plays? Who does he remind us of? What attributes are obvious? So, just to put my 2 pence in first. So, a few comments I'd make is, number one, when I watch him play, one thing I find incredible is that, mainly probably because he's so fucking tall, he often looks ungainly. Like he looks like he's not quite got his feet sorted. He looks sometimes like he's on the verge of tripping over the ball. And then the next minute, he's drawn it away from defenders and he's just fired it into the bottom corner. And you're just like, I didn't even realize he had it under control. And the one thing that stands out for me, there's the obvious, his finishing ability, his composure. But to me, the thing that marks him out as someone of such a young age is his ability and knowledge of how to find space. Like, you generally don't get that with very young players off the ball. He knows exactly where he's moving in the box. Like, it's almost like what they say about the elite level players. They see the play playing out a second ahead of everyone else, and they can see exactly where the angles are forming and everything. To me, that's like the thing that seems to mark him out. You look at a lot of his goals. A lot of his goals aren't necessarily crackers. He's always just in the right place in the box. Someone finds him and you're like, oh, well, that was a tap in. Yeah, it's a tap in because this kid is like seeing all the angles and gets in exactly the place he needs to be. And that is so rare for someone who's like 20 years old. But anyway, sorry, what were your...
Well, you think he's been doing that? He's been doing that for a few years now.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something he's learned this season. Are you watching?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, no, that's what. No, what I'm saying is that's how you know it's natural.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? That's how you know that his ability to do that. It's something that he hasn't had to work on. So, I think comparing to Messi and Ronaldo, I think often people look at Messi as this like natural born messiah, and Ronaldo is this really fine-tuned and polished athlete, but someone who had to work very hard to get there. Yes, he had a lot of natural attributes. Nobody's saying he's not naturally gifted. But to polish off his game, to become what he has, he had to work very hard to do that. Whereas Messi, it almost looks like it just came too easy to him.
It's almost like,
Again, you're taking, it sounds, when people do that, it sounds like you're taking something away from them, like Messi hasn't worked hard, or like Ronaldo isn't naturally gifted. Of course they are, but, people, they're known for different kind of things in that respect. I think that he could have both, because he seems to have everything mentally that you need. Time will come, he might get a big injury. We'll see how tough he is mentally, what his resilience is like, that sort of stuff. Yeah. Can he do it long term? Because if he wants to, then he's going to have to work hard. He's going to have to turn himself from potentially, being more, I've always found it really easy. He's got, I think, under Norway under 19s or something, he banged in 9 goals, didn't he, one game, and all that sort of stuff. And he's thinking, this is fucking easy. These lot I'm playing with. He's going to have to move away from, almost forget how easy he finds it sometimes, and work on making himself even better, but also more consistent would be the main thing, and prolonging it. Because when you talk about greats, you don't talk about people that have done it for maybe even 2 or 3 years. You talk about greats of the game that have competed at the highest level their whole career.
Yeah.
So, he hasn't done that yet. So it's not fair to say he could or he couldn't do it. Time will tell. But the other thing is his physical attributes. Because you said, like, you watch someone, and you do it all the time, don't you? Like, Man United bring a new kid up from the youth team, and you watch him play, and you think you're instantly, even if you don't mean to do it, you're liking him to someone else that you've seen play.
Yeah.
And I think that when I watch Haaland, he's I don't know, he seems like a weird kind of mix between, you see little bits of him. I don't know if you see this as well. Like, you watch him for 5 minutes and you think, fucking hell, he just looks exactly like X. And then the next time you watch him, you think, oh no, like he's Y, and he's got this of this person and this of that person. He can he maneuvers his way, for a big guy, he maneuvers his way through people and can shift the ball so quickly. Again, it's premature to start talking about Messi and Ronaldo, but he looks like Messi when he did that. Like, he's just made a mug of those 3 defenders with that level of close control. And how long were his fucking limbs? But that looked like Messi. And then he gets through, and then the way he strikes the ball, and you think, I've seen Ronaldo do that, or whatever it is, or the way that he holds himself in the box, and you think, like, and where he can bring things down, and you think that looks like Zlatan, or whatever it is. He's always doing something. You think, yeah, it doesn't. There doesn't look like there's much he can't do.
No, just to make a few quick points, Mike. One thing I remember reading about him, which I thought I get that completely, is someone said that he reminded them of, like, Ivan Drago, as if he'd been created in a laboratory, because it's almost like, I mean, he's a weird looking guy as well. Like, he almost doesn't look like a regular human. So you do get this idea that, is this a machine? And I totally get what you mean about, you look at aspects of his game and like, oh shit, yeah, that's Ronaldo-esque or whatever. But the thing is, the 2 players that I immediately thought of to combine him with, and it's not his specific technique, it's more his impact, it's like a combination of the physical and technical attributes of Zlatan, but the hit the ground running, destroy everyone when you're a teen of Wayne Rooney. Because Zlatan had the ability and the physique early, but he had nowhere near the consistency, whereas Rooney was destroying teams at 17, 18. So it's almost like Haaland has married the 2 together, in this own unholy mix. And I mean, did you see the last brace he scored in the Champions League? That ridiculous penalty where he only got it because it was a disallowed goal from him. And the disallowed goal was just, he just goes through and just batters this defender out of the way. Just like flexes his chest, and his defender goes flying.
Yeah.
And he hooks in.
That was an absolute joke. But that speaks to his mentality. Because he got booked for his celebration. But did you see what the keeper did to him?
He just returned the goalkeeper's stick, didn't he? He just said,
and at that age, he's obviously got so much about him, where he's just, and you can see it when he speaks. He obviously really enjoys what he does, but you can see there's an air of confidence about him. He's not quite. For me, it's cheeky. Maybe it's because of his age. Maybe if he was 10 years older, you think cocky prick.
Yeah, he's got that. He's walking that very fine line between arrogance and really overt confidence.
To me, it looks like he's just a bit of a cheeky chappy. So he'd make a little tongue-in-cheek comment, and he's got a grin on his face when he's doing it. So it's not like he sit there stone face and say, "Yeah, I'm fucking great." It's kind of a bit, and he doesn't ever actually say that. He's just a bit cheeky in the way he says things, but he does seem quite grounded at the same time, which sounds weird to say. Like, I've seen a few of the interviews, like his post match interviews, and actually, he makes sense, and he just says it how it is. He just says how it is.
Do you think?
And I like that.
Yeah. Do you think that, Mike? Do you think that? How much of that do you think is because his old man was a footballer?
Oh yeah, he'd have. It's this whole the football circus, if you like.
Yeah.
Won't be completely foreign to him, will it?
No.
So some kids coming through, first generation or whatever, and it'll take a while for them to adapt. But what the fuck is all this about then? Or is this how I'm supposed to be? What am I supposed to do now?
Easy to get lost in all of it.
Yeah. Whereas he clearly has never struggled with that. Like I see a lot of people when he first started, people would interview him after the games, and people thought, is he just a bit awkward? Like, is he not quite? But you look back, and you think he was just being playful. He was literally just playing.
Taking the mickey.
He just plays with them. He plays with them, and he loves it. You can see the little glint in his eye when he does it, a little smirk.
Do you think, Mike, quickly, because we're running out of time, the other thing that interested me is, of course, he's the son of an elite level footballer. Now, I say elite level. Erling Haaland was generally terrible, but he did get to the elite level. He played in the Premier League. He was a clogger. But so I was thinking, like, how rare it is to have a footballer's son whose dad was of an elite level, not an unknown player, like a relatively elite level, but then the son turns out to be so much better. The only one I could think of off the top of my head was Paolo Maldini. I don't know if you've got any others that you can think of where, there's a player, a footballer who's been at the elite level, and then their son just surpasses them so much by becoming like world class level. It's very rare, it seems like.
Yeah, I can't think of any of it. I'm sure there are. Well, anyone thinks of any?
Well, yeah, post them in the comments, man. That's a discussion I'd like to have, because I think it's a really interesting thing. Anyway, Mike, sorry, you were saying?
I don't remember what I was saying, but I tell you what I do want to maybe just get your thoughts on.
Go on.
So obviously Haaland, he's at Dortmund.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing really well. They're a good team.
Where do I think he'll go next?
Firstly, where do you think he'll go next? Secondly, well, actually, no. On that point is, do you think? Because he's played for a couple of top clubs. I say top clubs in their country. Top 3 or 4 clubs in their country. Obviously, Salzburg he played, where he came from before. Before that, he played for Molde, didn't he?
Yeah.
Who?
I've had this thought.
There was some Norwegian bloke who was the manager there at the time.
Someone who may have coached him in his ability, maybe.
Yeah, I think he manages another club now, doesn't he? Is it Premier League club?
Yeah, the only thing I will say about that though, Mike, because I've had the same thought of, oh please God. The problem with it is though, is his arsehole old man, isn't it? Because his old man hates United, his old man's a Leeds guy or a City guy. Haaland himself, I think, has said that he supports Leeds. So
I liked him.
I know it seems very unlikely. In terms of where he'll go, that's a really interesting one, because the question was asked, and it's like, well, who can actually afford him legitimately?
Oh, most of the top clubs.
You really? After the COVID situation?
Oh, I think you'll find that they'll find room in their wage budget.
All right, so time is up.
I mean, he could. Okay. No. So he could go to 3 or 4 Premier League teams.
Quickly then, who's the favourite? Do you think? Who would you put top of getting Haaland?
I'd like to say Man United.
Wouldn't we all?
I don't see it. If he comes to England, then realistically, unfortunately, probably shitty.
Yeah, I know. Which is a shame because I'd really love to see him in the Premier League, obviously, for being able to
in
watch
United,
him. But if he's going to join City, I'd rather he join like Barcelona, to be honest.
yeah.
I don't think Barcelona would be able to afford him. In fact, I'm not even sure Real Madrid would at the moment. I mean, he's not going to Paris Saint-Germain, is he? So it looks like.
I hope not. I see that as sideways move for him.
I consider it probably less than sideways. I get that maybe the Champions League is a bit more realistic with them, but you telling me the French league's stronger than the German league?
No.
So yeah. Okay, well that was interesting, Mike, and yeah, the guy is a freak of nature, and seeing how much he's already achieved. Oh, the other thing as well is his national team. You know, you talk about Norway.
Yeah.
7 caps, 6 goals.
Not bad, is it?
And this is the thing, it's because at the age of 20, he's got a goal ratio that's close to a goal a game. You know, so anyway, that's it this time for Extra Time, and we will catch you next time. Like, comment, share, etc. Let us know what you think we should discuss. Let us know if you can think of any superstars who had fathers who played at some kind of elite level, because I'd be really interested to hear that. And until next time, see you later.